I'll be reading Psalm 23 from verse number 1 through 6. Psalm selection 23 from verse number 1 to 6. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He lead me beside still waters. Verse 3. He restores my soul. He lead me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Verse 6. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Praise ye the Lord. I'll be speaking on God's care for his people. God's care for his people. In this Psalm 23, we saw David here using the imagery of a shepherd. He painted the imagery, he used the imagery of a Near East shepherd and his flock. He used this imagery to illustrate the blessings of God that he enjoyed. And we'll be looking into this this psalm to see how God cares for his people. I said he painted the imagery of a shepherd, the shepherd in his time, shepherd in Near East a scenario at that time, they are meant to feed the sheep. They are to guide the sheep. They are to care for the flock and to take care of the sick animals. Mind you, that time, they do not have ranches like we do now. And they do not have veterinary doctors to take care of sick animals. So the shepherd operates and is the one that does all this. And so for us to have a glimpse of the lifestyle of a shepherd, let's see what a shepherd said in Genesis chapter 31. I want us to look at what Jacob said. Genesis 31. I'll read from verse 38 to 40. Here, Jacob was the shepherd working for Laban, his father-in-law. And look at his experience. He said, these 20 years, I have been with you. Your ewes and your female goats have not miscarried. I have not eaten the rams of your flocks. What was torn by wild beasts, I did not bring to you. I bore the loss of it myself. From my hand you required it, whether stolen by day or stolen by night. I was there I was by the heat, by the day the heat consumed me, and the cold by night, and my sleep fled for my eyes. Now you see, The picture, what he said here, gave us a glimpse into what the shepherd at that time, what they do. Shepherds stay with their flock. They are to ensure that the sheep are protected, because sheep are very weak and they are prone to so many predators. They are the one to watch over them, to preserve them from wild animals. The shepherd will be the one to ensure the sheep will not go to where they will be hurt. And the shepherd will be the one to ensure that the sheep receive the necessary care. Look at what he said about pregnant animals. He said he ensured that the pregnant animals did not miscarry. A sheep is expected to watch, to give that kind of particular attention to each flock. Now, the sheep cannot survive on their own. Let's pause here to say this. Just like the shepherd gives care, guidance, protection, and provision to the sheep, every one of us long for this. We long for care. We long for guidance. We long for protection. Unfortunately, this is something that is difficult to get as we look around us. The strongest of us still need care. They need guidance. Even though we try to show how strong we are, but even humans, just like the sheep, need a shepherd to guide them. Also, for us as humans, we also need someone that will fulfill this role. And so, here, David is the one speaking here. Let's look at that verse 1 now of our text. In that verse 1, look at what he said. He said, "The Lord is my shepherd." The first thing you will see here is that it depicts relationship. David had a kind of relationship with God that made him to say, God is my own shepherd. Just like the sheep receive care, just like the sheep receive guidance, just like the sheep receive protection from me, I that offer this thing to the sheep, I myself, I am in need of this. I said, the strongest of us needs care. The strongest of us needs guidance, needs protection. And here, David is the one here speaking about his experience. He himself was a shepherd and he knew what the experience, the care, he knew the care he offered to the sheep. Where we read from the testimony of Jacob, if a sheep goes out, I mean, the shepherd goes out, if it's not the one that is the owner of the sheep, the flock that is leading, if anything happens to them, is the one that will be in charge. You know, he said the other time that if any animal got torn by the wild animal, he bore it. Now, here, David himself knew the kind of care, the expectation that he must give, what is expected of him as shepherd over the flock. You know, he was a shepherd, and in his testimony in Psalm 78, the Bible talks about the fact that God took him from shepherding, from following the sheep and the flock, to come and lead his people. So he himself was a shepherd and he was talking from first-hand experience. He knew in 1 Samuel chapter 17. 1 Samuel chapter 17. Let's look at verse 34. I want us to see what David said. But David said to Saul, your servant used to keep the sheep for his father. And when there came a lion or a bear and took a lamb from the flock, I went after him and struck him and delivered it out of his mouth. If he arose against me, I caught him by his beard and struck him and killed him. Look at it here. David talking about his experience as a shepherd, providing protection for the sheep, the animals in his care. And he is saying here now, just like he did that, he had someone watching over him also. I said, there is that need. A man who did this, it shows to us that he's not a weak man. A man who could go after wild animals that are protecting, want to encroach, to take the animals in his care, that shows that man is not a weak man. But despite his strength, despite his ability, David knew that he needed someone to watch over him also. Hello? He admitted the fact that he needed someone to provide care, tender care and affection for him also, like he did for the animals under his care. I said it the other time that we sometimes pretend that I am comfortable, I do not need anyone. But I tell you this, we all need someone to watch our back. Now, there are some who also admit the fact that I need someone that I can talk to. I need someone who will watch my back. I need someone that a shoulder I can lean on. But as they look around, they do not find someone dependable to do this. David did not say someone else, another human being, is his shepherd. This care that he longed for, this protection, this guidance that he longed for, he did not seek it in fellow human beings. Look at what he said. He said God. The word translated God here, Hebrew word translated means Jehovah, the self-existent one, the one who can stand on his own, the one that is unlimited. When a man picked a fellow human being or something as to fill in the role of guidance, protection, watching your back, there is a problem. David knew that every shepherd is limited. Are we together? When you want a fellow human to fit into this role of having someone watching over me, providing guidance, providing comfort, providing protection, even if they want to do it, they are limited. Is someone getting what we are saying? No matter how strong a man is limited. Sometimes the odds that you feel in a relationship is not because those people deliberately wanted to hurt you, but it's because they themselves, they are incapacitated. You have put your expectation in the wrong place. And obviously, they couldn't meet up because they are human. And humans are limited. And look at what David said here. He said, for me, the guidance, the care, the provision, the protection that I need, I will put it in God, the self existent one, the one who cannot be limited. Now, when David said this, he knew because at that time, shepherds also they were prone to some vulnerabilities. They had issues confronting them. The other time he said, when the animal, a lion on a bear in that second Samuel 17, when it came for the animal, you go after it to snatch it from him. And what will happen? Said, and if that animal turn against him, then you will have to fight it. Come to think of it, if you want to fight the animal and the animal overpowered him, what happened to him? He's gone. He knew that. In the book of Job, in Job chapter 1, when they were talking about the experiences of Job and all that, in verse 16, look at Job chapter 1, verse 16. Why he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God fell from heaven and burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I alone, I have escaped to tell you. Now look at that. Shepherds were prone to natural things, the elements, they were prone to natural disasters. No matter how strong a shepherd is. This experience I was talking about, lightning. Lightning struck and they were electrocuted, they were killed by the power of that apple. It was a natural phenomenon. And what happened, no matter how strong a shepherd is, he has nothing to answer to protect himself or the sheep. Not only that, look at the next verse, verse 17. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the Chaldeans formed three groups and made a raid on the camels and took them and struck down the servants with the edge of the sword. And I alone have escaped to tell you. Here, as they were busy working, shepherds were prone to those who will come to attack them, raiding bands who will come to attack them to take away their animals, to kill the shepherd and take away the animals. So no matter how strong a shepherd is, they are prone to this. So when David was saying this, he had all this at the back of his mind. And that was why he said, for him, guidance about his life, protection, comfort, he will put it in God and not in man, the one that is not limited. There will be disappointments if a man chooses fellow human to fill in into a role that is incapacitated. I tell you this, it is not because a man may not be willing to help you, but listen to this, they themselves have issues in their lives. And even when they wanted to help, they could be incapacitated. Things beyond their power, things that they could not do. And David knew this. He said, God is my shepherd. And look at now the latter part of that verse 1. He said, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Because God is my shepherd, I shall not want. Because the self-existent one, The one who does not rely upon anybody, the one that is incapacitated, is the one watching over my life. The result is that I shall not want. David knew because God was his shepherd, his needs were met. That was his conclusion. Now, hear what David did not say here. It's not saying that because God is my shepherd, there will not be any need. There are a matter of things that one desire and all that. I look for this and all that. That is not what he was saying. He said, because God is my shepherd, I shall not want anything that God consider is necessary and good for me. When he says, God is my shepherd, I shall not want. What he's saying is this: since I have God watching over me, I shall not lack anything that God considers as necessary and good for me. Why? Because the sheep are not the one that dictate to the shepherd where he will take them. The shepherd knew the need of his sheep and he attends to those needs as appropriate. So what he's saying is this: since I have God as my shepherd, I can sit down and have all my needs taken care of by God because he knows what is appropriate, what I need. Just like he knew what his flock long for. He knew what they need, and he said, for me, since I have God as my shepherd, I can sit down to know he will watch my back and take care of my needs. What an assur- what it what look at that assurance. David knew God will always watch his back and take care of all his need. Now, having said this, you know, this is an allusion to who Jesus is to us. In John chapter 10, verse 14, look at what the Bible says. Look at what Jesus identified himself as: the good shepherd, the one who knows what the flock needs. Look at John chapter 10, verse 14. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. That is talking about relationship. When David said, the Lord is my shepherd, I said it connotes relationship. There's relationship built between David and God. And here we have Jesus speaking here. He said, I am the good shepherd. Now that means there are some shepherds that are not good. Hello? There are shepherds who were watching over flock, and when they realize that their life is in danger, they will run away and allow the flock to meet the trouble. He is not like that. Look at what the Bible says. I am the good shepherd. I know my own, and my own know me. Talking about personalized care. As we look into this, we still see this. Jesus knows everyone who identifies with him. He knows everyone who identifies with him. So just as my Father knows me, and I know the Father, I lay down my life for the sheep. The best thing, the most important thing a man can give is his life. And he said, I am the good shepherd because my life has been offered for the sheep. Now look at something. I have other sheep that are not of this fold. I must bring them in, and they will listen to my voice. And so there will be one flock and one shepherd. One thing Jesus is saying here is that the door is not closed. If you are not part of my flock now, you can still come in. If you cannot say, just like David said, the Lord is my shepherd. If it looks as if God is far away, that they talk about God, they talk about God. I don't think I know him. I don't think you see, how can I connect with God that I will say he is also my shepherd? Jesus is saying, I am still longing for as many that will come to be part of this flock. That means the door, the invitation is still open. You can also come to that conclusion as you will accept his invitation to now say, I want to be part of his flock. God cares for his people, but for a man to enjoy the tender care, the guidance, the provision, the love, the protection of God, the comfort of God in difficult times, he must first of all make the decision to be part of the flock. And you know what? The beautiful thing here is that the door is not closed. Jesus said, I am still looking for other sheep who will be part of this flock. So, when a man makes the decision to allow the Lord to be his own shepherd, when a man allows Jesus to be the one in charge of his life, he will experience the care, the tender affection of the good shepherd towards his flock. He can also say, just like the psalmist said here, that I have all I need. Hello? Because he knows, he said, I know my sheep and my sheep know me. So he knows each individual. I've always said this. One of the difficult things is that it is difficult to know humans and know them very well. Sometimes, even you yourself, you are just knowing yourself. There are things that happen that say, I never knew I could do that. How did that happen? We'll keep on knowing ourselves. But for Jesus, he knows all, even more than you know yourself. So when he's in charge as the shepherd, you can be at rest that he will take care of us. You will experience that tender care that you have been longing for. Look, listen to me, church. No matter how hard a man tries, they cannot give you the kind of affection, the attention, the care that Jesus offers to his sheep. If you look for it outside Jesus, it will always be like a mirage. You will run after it, but you will not be able to get it. There will always be disappointments. As you try to grab it, you discover that it is sleeping. When you meet people who offers love, who offers care, they are not eternal. They can fill that void for a time. But the reality of life is that they will leave the scene one day. But when Jesus is the one in charge, he is there eternally. And so when he offers us the opportunity to allow him to be in charge, to be our shepherd, I tell you, this is the best that can happen to anyone. As we look into this, we will now begin to see how God cares for those who surrender to him, for those who allow him to be in charge. It is his responsibility to look out for us, to take care of our needs. The psalmist said, because the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I have all my needs taken care of. Because he knows me and he has tailored made provision. Tailored made provision that we meet my need. He knows everyone who come into contact with him, and he knows what to do to meet our needs. So the psalmist said, for this I can stay at rest. People of God, if you are here today, you have actually surrendered your life to Jesus. Do not undermine this provision. Be ready to maximize this provision, that even though people do not know you, there is someone who knows you very well and he knows your need. You can actually relax, let your heart be at rest because you have him as your shepherd. Your heart can be at peace because he will be there eternally. And if you are here, there's never been a time that you have confessed Christ as your Lord and Savior. This is what the benefits that comes to a man who allows Jesus to be the Lord of his life. If a man comes into relationship with Jesus, allowing him to be the Lord, the good shepherd knows how to take care of each one. So listen to this. This is the provision God has made. He takes care of his people. Yes, I will stop here today and we'll continue next week as we look at this other thing, looking at how God cares for his people. I'd like you to go home with this. Even if nobody cares about me, be sure of this, that God cares about his people. Having him as your shepherd, he knows me. He knows my pain. He knows the odds. He knows experiences that I cannot actually verbalize. Sometimes you try to explain to people what you are passing through, but they do not understand. There are instances when you are trying to look for words to convey what is going on within you, but you are bereft of the right word to use. Sometimes you labor to explain, and as you are busy explaining, you look at them, they do not understand. People around you do not understand what you are saying. But you see, even at such a time, the good shepherd knows me. He knows things that troubles my heart. He knows things that I cannot say. He knows everything. How wonderful it is to know that God, the self-existent one, the one who is not limited, is my shepherd.